I did take notes. And I'm noticing a little bit of a reoccurring theme this morning, and I'm really happy to sort of follow some of the great speakers that have happened today. Thank you to everyone. But especially I wanted to make mention of Michael's talk about in and out migration, then of course Leopold as well, speaking from the rural, slightly more rural perspective. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Moi, je suis Heather Carson. C'est un plaisir d'être ici aujourd'hui.
I'm very happy to be here
My name
this
is Heather Carson, and I'm also so delighted to be with you all today to share not only what is my passion for this province and for our country, but to really share what is my vision of 2017. It is truly an honor. Let me start, like Margaret Ann, by sharing a little bit of a story about my upbringing, because I believe that my story is very similar to many of the people that I know that are my age that grew up and are living in New Brunswick and all around the country today. I grew up in a lower middle income family, 2 working parents, a brother, a cat, and a dog. You know, sounds pretty familiar to most, right? My dad was a laborer. He actually worked for the city of Moncton for 35 years. But he did the same variation of the same job over and over again, moving up in responsibility, of course, as the years go along. But the reality is that he was one of those amazing types of employees that don't come around very often. You know, they're the kinds that you really want to keep, the ones that work so hard, they can't sit still. They're always tinkering with something. The person to always stay late or work on weekends, a grinder, as we call it kind of in the tech space. He was one of those major assets, but given his work ethic, he was also one of those people that didn't move up the ranks to a point of management because he would have taken 2 or 3 people to replace him. What he really should have done is started his own business. He's talented, he's hardworking. It would have been an exceptional combination, but he was raising a family. In his mind, he needed a safe job. We're going to stay on this theme for a little bit about safety. He would have never thought of himself as someone who could have been an entrepreneur. My mom worked in bookkeeping style jobs on again, off again when I was younger. But the difference between my mother and father is my mom always took the flexible jobs that could be adjusted around her family's schedule. Sounds familiar, right? We all know those moms. Mornings and weekends, those are the times that she worked because her priority was her children. Her priority was making sure she had 3 square meals on the table, that my homework was done. But as a result, she had a trade-off. Any bold career ambitions that she might have had went to the back burner. Because in her mind, she needed just enough money to pay for the extras, you know, a school trip, my braces, thanks Mom. But as she got older, or as I got older rather, and didn't need her as much, she realized that there wasn't much left for her to do. So she took a church secretary job. She was there for 15 years. Again, an exceptional worker, a hard worker, but certainly not someone you would stereotype as entrepreneurial. Probably never occurred to her that with some training and maybe someone telling her that she could run her own bookkeeping business. She's very talented. She did books all of her life. And that if she had done that, she could have juggled her schedule, run her family, no problem, and probably generated more income for herself and for all of us. I wish someone had told my parents what they told me. You're smart, you can do anything, you can be anyone, and think as big as you dare. In fact, before me, there were no entrepreneurs in my family. I'm the first. I'm also the first university graduate, le premier à parler en français. But more importantly, the first to string together the words job and love in the same sentence. My parents' generation is full of hardworking people like my mom and dad. And these people paved the way for children, for people like me, and for their children's children, for my stepchildren, to have all of the opportunity in the world at our fingertips. But for young people, especially in this very hyper-connected world that we have right now, the path to success, to stability, and to personal fulfillment is confusing. The world truly is our oyster, yet many are still told to get that safe job. Get married, have a family, work your way up, safe job, one with a good pension, one with benefits. Safe, but are you trading off the reward? For my dad, his version of safe, his reward was a moderate pension plan and a thanks for a job well done and a pat on the back. We're lucky he was happy with that. My mom, never really a truly fulfilled person, sadly passed away at 51 from liver failure. She always says her greatest pride was her family. So to that, I would ask the room to think about the alternatives. What about doing what you love? A job you love? What about passion? I promise you, you can make these things as profitable as a day job, and often more so. So then how do you connect the dots between who you are and what you want to do? And I'm speaking predominantly to the young people in the room, but I know that everyone that wouldn't necessarily identify with being a young person anymore has someone in their life that they could potentially pass this message on to. The answer is simple as it is scary. Please consider jumping ship from everything that you've been told about the word safe. Let's create a new definition of the word safe. Let me tell you what I mean. Because my version of safe begins with an investment in myself. And because I believe that you can never go wrong with creating your own opportunities, and if you believe in yourself, you can create opportunities for other people. I had a real job for a few years after university. It didn't last long. I don't remember precisely the catalyst for quitting that job. It was a good job, but I do know it had something to do with bureaucracy and seeing no foreseeable promotion or next step that was well within my control. And what I can say for sure is that the day I had no job to fall back on was the day I decided to start taking more risks and let discomfort become my inspiration. I worked for small companies or for myself ever since, on the front line of the meaningful decisions. And I couldn't have done it without embracing a certain amount of unknown, and redefining that word again will bring it back to that word safe. I'll tell you what safe is to me. Safe is feeling confident in my talents. Safe is educating myself in both traditional, I have a degree, and non-traditional means. I've learned much more after my degree. Taking the time to think and dream about the things that really make me happy. Challenging myself to new things even though I'm often underqualified, as one might think from reading the list of exceptional speakers in the room today and somehow finding my way at the bottom of the list. Pushing back against the nagging fear that inherently lives in all of us. And safe to me is having educated opinions and not being afraid to share them. And while initially scary, these types of actions gradually start feeling more and more like a new definition of safe. After all, routine does become habit after all. So in pursuing what you love to do, what I'm telling you is you can become fearless. Today, I run a technology startup marketing company with clients in San Francisco, New York, and Boston. We help young companies that have a great idea tell other people about them. And regrettably, none of them are in New Brunswick right now, and that has to change. So my vision for 2017 in a nutshell is more entrepreneurs. It's quite simple. More people at home doing what they love here. More people waking up every morning with their hearts racing, excited and ready to get on with their work days. More people creating wealth for themselves and for the people around them. And more people experiencing what I call the thrilling rush of doing something that's truly meaningful and not existing as a cog in someone else's corporate wheel. As leaders in New Brunswick, I believe we need to embrace the fact that we have some of the world's best and most talented people. We're also hungry for a challenge. As we talk about have-not provinces, we're hungry. We need to empower these individuals to create an economy and a culture rooted in entrepreneurship. We need to put a stake in the ground that New Brunswick will be a knowledge economy, an entrepreneurial economy, and a make our own damn rules economy. Pardon the language. We need more investment in time, in energy, and in passion into the high-tech sector. And we need to continue to empower entrepreneurs to create opportunities that will keep our young people home and happy. An economy based on natural resources is not good enough. An economy dependent on shipping our young people out west for work is not good enough. I want my friends back home. And it's not good enough for New Brunswick. It's not good enough for me. My vision for 2017 is more entrepreneurs in our province, and I believe that will be what makes a significant difference. Thank you.
I personally love what you have to say because I kind of straddle all three areas. I work for a corporation, but I'm a contract worker. I'm a singer, so I do what I love. and I also run my own small business. So it's the holy trinity.
But it's
Oh, stop. But you live in Ottawa.
Corporation.
Ottawa's great. Go, Sens, go.
or Bruins. He loves the Bruins.
Just get my little hockey plug in there while I can. But it's a really interesting notion about the safety issue because it's a tiny, small shift. And what I think is great is that you don't have to throw complete caution to the wind. All you have to do is just be a little bit unsafe. Give yourself a little bit of that discomfort to, number one, find out who you are. It's how you carve out an identity. And to give you that internal motor to get up and do something. It changes who you are. It then changes, it has such a ripple effect, because if it changes who you are, it changes how you see the world, it changes how you feel, it changes how you are in the world, and it changes the landscape of the place that you live. So maybe we need to be a little bit less safe about concealing our Canadian pride and worrying about the specifics of identity, and just sort of taking that little bit of caution to the wind, throwing that little bit of caution to the wind, and really just going crazy in 2017.
Going crazy now.
Yeah, now
so that
for
by
2017.
Just don't have to worry about these problems that we're
starting to make that little shift of how we see ourselves and how we express ourselves. Good, thank you.
Merci beaucoup.